Hey, connecting to the cloud. Hello, cloud. Okay. Hello, cloud. Okay. Now, we're not going to look at ourselves because we're just too beautiful for words. But, so here we go, Sherry.
Okay.
Hi, we're here about 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
But so we'll get started soon. And everyone say hello. Say hello in the chat box. So, hi, Shmoody and Bogey and Bombs.
That's right. And this is Marisa, and I'm Sherry.
Yeah.
We're going to officially announce ourselves later, but tell us who you are. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Okay. So at the beginning, I'm Marisa, this is Sherry.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And we like to do two-way trainings. Like, we don't like to just stand up here and blah, 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 and you just take it. We want to have this dialogue between you. So use the chat. It's in the little box on the right-hand corner. Go ahead and try it out.
Yeah, try it out. Yeah. So help us warm up the chat bar.
Yeah, sorry.
Tell us your name, the ages of your kids, the kids in your life, and their genders. That would be great to know, and that way we can customize it.
We work with parents from the ages of toddlers all the way to boomerang adults. And your challenges are going to be different. They're going to be same in some ways, but different in others. So again, we'd like to customize it for you. So we see that Susie is on from Nebraska, and she's got one kid.
Yeah.
One child.
Hi, Suze.
Hi, Susie.
Where are you looking? Where are you looking? Just look at you in the camera.
Where am I supposed to be looking?
Right here. See this little thing up there? That's where you look, okay? So, okay. So again, everyone type in the chat bar if you would. We'd love to know your first name, the ages of your kids, and the gender of the kids, because that matters. If we have a bunch of boys in this workshop, then we'll address those issues. But trust me, the two-way workshop, if you're able to tell us, will be so much better, and you'll get a lot more value out of it.
Yeah, we are really committed to engaging with you guys, and it gives us a lot of energy. So we so use that. Also, another thing that's really important is take notes. Have an old-fashioned paper and pen. You're going to retain the information much more by doing it that way.
So trust me, by the way, the multitasking thing, I've tried it often on these webinars, and I don't get the stuff, I don't get the information, and I have to listen to it later on because I know I'm interested. That's why I went there in the first place. So if you're trying to multitask, you probably could use your time in better ways. Okay. All right. Well, should we get going?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So I am going to share my screen now, and I am going to share my screen. See, now I can't do this. I got to have the other thing up, right? I love this. Yay. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now, and now I'm going to go into so I'm going to share my screen. This can't happen, right? No. So there we go. Well, welcome to our workshop on how to get your kids off screens without nagging, screaming, and fighting. 3 counterintuitive truths for the screen age.
For those of you that don't know us, we are Sherry Burnett and Marisa Harrison. We come to this topic as 2 moms who have lived through this experience of raising our kids in a tech-driven world. And we'd like to share our stories in a little bit later.
Yeah, we're parenting coaches, basically. We help parents with challenges, an area we know well, kids and screens. So we felt the negative impacts of screens in our family, and we feel like we've kind of cracked the code on the solutions. Years of helping other parents, and now we're happy to bring this workshop to more people. Go.
Are we okay. So we brought these devices into our homes, and we quickly became concerned. We didn't know what to do. We could pretend that it was just part of our modern childhood, but that's not really the way it works. So if you felt that way too, pretending not to notice about the changes in your kids' behavior, type me in the chat box right now.
Me?
Yep, me.
Yep. Thanks, you guys. Yes, a lot of people. It's nice to hear from
Yeah.
you.
Oh, it's lighting up.
Shmoomy and the Dubu, Bahuba. So, I thought I was the worst parent. It would never get better, and I'd have a lifelong struggle with screens. But it was really the beginning of my deep dive into the subject, creating tools and systems and plans for parenting the screen age, really.
And then Marisa and I partnered, and I tried some of what she has learned with my own kids. And I've just been thrilled with the results. I'm much more confident as a parent dealing with screens and aligning them with our family values.
Okay, so over time it evolved. We were helping others, and we fell in love with helping other parents feel the same confidence that we had.
Mm-hmm. And the good news, before we start the workshop and dive into it deeply, we can teach our kids tech life balance. They want our guidance, even though they won't tell you that. And we need to take back control.
Definitely.
Sorry to bore you.
We commend everyone here today. But it's really up to the parents, not the schools, churches, temples, or tech giants. We want to help you build a flexible system for your child to become your child's digital mentor, or even when you're having a bad week. Anyone ever yell at their kids when they're having a bad week and feel really badly about it, especially when they're triggered by their kids spending hours on the screen?
Yep.
Me. Type it in the chat.
Thank you so much for this engagement. It really gives us a lot of energy, and we can pour that energy back into you. It's that cycle.
Virtual,
so let's get this program started.
Woo! Okay, here we go.
That was way too long. I don't know what
so again, we want you taking notes. Studies have proven that we lose about 40% of the information we hear. But if we take notes by hand, we retain and retrieve almost 100%. If you're investing your time, you'll want the benefit.
Yeah, and we understand that you're busy. So we're going to make the most of your time. But if you want to participate, but there's just too much happening at your household or wherever you might be, just sign off now and catch the replay. Our feelings won't get hurt.
No, sure.
No.
So what are the goals for this?
So the goals for this workshop are in 3 parts. We want to spare you the agony of trying to do this by yourself. We know that's really difficult and most people fail. Second, we want to reveal the only way to keep kids off screens for the long haul. That's the key. And third, we want to show you the way to bring back sanity to your house and cut to the front of the line to do it.
Yep. And so who cares about, is this workshop for you? Well, have you seen the way your kids or a kid in your life behaves differently around screens? Does it feel like the pull is too strong? Does it scare you about the future and the way they might affect their brains? Well, if you're a mom, a dad, a babysitter, grandpa, educator, or otherwise, we're going to really just use the term parents in this webinar. But yes, this is for you.
So I'm going to ask you all. So type in the chat box. What's your top struggle with kids and screens? Your top struggle. Just don't even think about it. Just like, what is it? And some of these struggles, as we're going to wait for you guys to pipe in, it depends on the age, the gender of your child, the maturity, and their personality. So while you guys are thinking about it, some of our survey participants, we've done surveys online and with parents in person. And a lot of them have said, it's the constant policing. Oh, what are you doing?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
Okay. So where is the text on? I thought it would be here that it comes up, but no.
Oh.
Do you see what I'm saying? I thought I was clicking for it to come up. Wait, what's your biggest struggle? Go ahead. See?
So it goes into fears.
Okay.
Okay.
There's that.
So
okay, so that's fine. Let's just go with this. That's you.
Okay. So tell us about, thanks for that input on your struggles. Now tell us about your fears. Type them in the chat box. And while you're doing that, some of our survey participants, top 3 things. They're afraid that our kids will not have social skills. They're afraid that our kids are going to fall into depression and have anxiety. And the media is just going to compound that. And the third thing that most people are most concerned about is lost family time.
Just read them off, babe.
Lost family time. I mean, while it's doing it?
Yes.
Inappropriate content online, magnifies their insecurities. That's social media. Negative behaviors. Hello, that's aside from just normal teen and adolescent.
Okay, so these, I think you just read them off. Just read them off, because you know what I'm saying? It's
all right, move. Okay. Fully.
So should you be rude? Hell yeah. So I'll give you a couple examples. Most of them you probably know. Jean Twenge, who is a professor who studies differences in intergenerational contexts. She's a professor at the University of San Diego and wrote a book. She says, we're on the brink of the worst mental health crisis in history. So again, a lot of people, though, for that data and studies, claim that maybe the data there is correlational. So they'll tell you a little bit more about that. And so there's a man named Tristan Harris that was worked at Google as a Google ethicist. And his job was to figure out how you ethically steer the thoughts and actions of 2 billion people's minds every day. Well, you know, not surprisingly, he doesn't work there anymore because it was impossible and is impossible. And so now he spent the last decade understanding the invisible influences that hijack human thinking and action. He's the closest thing to Silicon Valley that he's called the closest thing Silicon Valley has to a conscience. And basically he knows, because he did it, it's engineered to hijack our psychological vulnerabilities at the very core. And again, what's that like? I'll just quickly go over it. The slot machine effect. So when we pull to refresh, oh, god dang, butt, face, go.
That kind of sounds like the slot machine effect, right? So what that means is, like, for example, with email, when we go to our email, we're using that slot machine to see what new email that we've got. When we scroll through Instagram, we're waiting to see that slot machine of what photo is going to come next. So the apps and websites are engineered to sprinkle those variable rewards intermittently. So we don't know when they're going to pop up. So we keep at it. We stay online. And it's good for business.
So, and then if you thought you were, but where's the data, the real data, the long-term provable? Well, the National Institutes of Health have a landmark study. It was on 60 Minutes, interviewed by Anderson Cooper about the details. And they started a $300 million, 11,000 kids, $300 million campaign to determine how screens, are impacting the adolescent brain. They have 11,000 kids, 9 and 10-year-olds, they across 21 sites, and they will interview these kids for over 10 years. And so they do MRIs when the kids use this technology. Of course, they can't take them in the MRI, but as closely as possible to get the data. Some of the initial results are premature thinning of the cortex, which is the part of the brain that processes senses, and lower scores on thinking and language tests. Essentially, we just don't know. Our kids are an experiment in history. And then, yeah, there's that. Oh, okay. We're on the midst of a natural, uncontrolled experiment on the next generation of children.
So parenting is like what? It's like parenting in the wild, wild west. Is all that stuff typed there? Clearly, I have no idea where this.
Okay, that was me. It said, like, why the wild? So parenting in the screen age is like the wild, wild west.
I know. I didn't write any.
So, but this is parenting in the screen age, not parenting is like the wild. I don't know. So what I tried to do is analogies. There's clear problems. The laws that are there, but too many people are coming on. I was just trying to draw the analogy.
Okay.
So the rules don't apply, right? Okay. Who agrees with that?
Just got changed from what
I just read. I know. Okay. No, right. I didn't change it since then.
Okay. I don't
know.
No,
it was yesterday when you left.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, it's uncharted territory. There's no rules. Who here agrees with that? Type me in the chat box.
Me.
And guess what? Oh my God! Look at the chat box. You're not the only one. Clearly.
Don't say all this because we say it later.
I'm not going to.
Fuck. This is fun.
I can't say that either.
So let me tell you a story. It started innocently. We invited all these devices into our homes, right? We didn't. No one made us do it. That a home didn't come with them. And by 2015, my house was drowning electronics. But for us, Pandora's box was the Xbox. Then he quickly became consumed, and his behavior was like addictive. Huh?
He?
Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, my 14-year-old boy. We felt helpless. We watched him quickly show signs of addiction. He started lying, staying up late, forgetting to go to the bathroom even. Oh my God. Ew. We tried everything. Rules, limiting tech use. He didn't listen. Device-based controls, that they are all different. Wi-Fi limits, no, they played offline and installed a private VPN. Parent policing, oh my God, exhausting. And then there's the old tried and true yelling and screaming. But of course, that deteriorates the relationship. Our family was falling apart.
It sounds. Yeah. Okay.
And so we had desperate situations. We were like, we were like, should we send him to boarding school or military academy or therapy? So, well, what we decided is to send him to a 28-day wilderness program. And it was created to help kids struggling with substances. And he was the youngest one there and the only gamer. But what? I never forget the sigh of relief we felt. Yeah, none of this matches. Okay, so we want a quick fix. Just get them off the video game. But the real problem, and we wanted them to get a prescription and that we'd all live happily ever after. Why is this so wrong? But the big picture takeaways were the parents need to look inward, collaborative effort, and we need to stop parenting and start mentoring. Okay. This is going really well.
Start mentoring. Here we go.
The biggest thing is we really had to become a Tech Life mentor and see how well that worked. So we had a plan when we left. We had the tools they gave us about SMART goals. We had way to resolve conflict in large group, right? And we had we set some agreements in place for how we would change and how he would change. And then we even had something else. Oh, and we drew up the beginning of, what is a contract that we think we can, no, I'm not going to say that. And we just wrote some specifics on how we would both behave over time. I don't know what to say for that one. Okay. But of course, best laid plans. We had plans to go see my family, and we all rented one house in Michigan. And when we arrived, there was a bunch of teenagers. He has 7 cousins, well, 1 sister and 6 cousins. And all of those kids were glued to their device. Okay, so I had to really adapt this contract to work in real life. Yeah, this is just life happened too much. This is not going to work. So making it work in real life evolved over time, blah. And the results from that, after working years and years,
it was a really big, long struggle.
And we gained shared vocabulary to resolve differences, structure for collaboration, improve family relationships, and we feel confident about it over time. We lost the confusion about expectations, and we stopped emotionally reacting, threats to take away the devices and hiding the devices and forgetting. So
it's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah. It really is. Again, I can't remember the last time I had to take away his devices. And he even thinks, he actually agreed to even give this quote, which is, we understand each other's wants and needs. So, does that mean, and I thought, hey, well, would it work for others? Because I kept getting approached by people who said, hey, I want to know, I want the answer. I am struggling too. So I called my friend Sherry to see if she wanted to work with me on this idea. We had known each other from Little League. So, and she's very different than me. So I wanted to see how can this work for others?
That's right. We didn't play Little League, our kids did.
Yeah.
Although we could. No, this is you still.
Oh, Sherry's very different than me. Her husband's collaborative. She has 2 boys, one's younger, and she was kind of skeptical. Her kids have different personalities. She wanted to be sure it actually worked before selling it to others.
So the first question Marisa asked me when we started talking about this was, does Sam sleep with his phone? So Sam's my older son, and he had had an iPhone for 2 years, right?
Yep.
And I said, yeah, he sleeps with his phone. I think he does.
Yeah.
Like,
and I said, why?
And why did I, and yeah, what did I say?
It's his alarm clock.
His alarm clock. Yeah. And that's what most people say too. So I'm going to turn around and ask you all in the chat box, respond please. How many of you have kids that have a phone in their bedroom at night? Okay. No judgment. This is a
judgment-free zone.
We don't, no parent judging here. Just answer. And you know, quite honestly, most people do have kids with phones in their rooms at night.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
So,
oh my God, look at that. Of course. Yeah, expected.
Thank you so much for being super honest. That is so great.
Yeah.
So second question, how many of your kids get enough good quality sleep consistently? Okay.
Yeah, be honest.
How many?
And well, I mean, think about it. If you do answer, like, how do you know that? I mean, there's, you know, that's a harder way. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell because what do you see with your, like, Marisa, what do you see with your kids when they don't get enough sleep? Like,
cranky, short temper. I can even tell their eyes are half closed, even in the morning when teenagers generally are tired. And really, it's the behavior change. They move towards, there's my daughter.
We're in your room.
We're recording it though. It's not going well.
So, why is this so important? Sleep deprivation is the most common threat to kids' mental health. Mm-hmm. And what does this have to do with screens? A lot, actually. Sleep deprivation due to kids on social media alone in the room is epidemic. And kids actually have a name for it. It's called vamping. I love that, right?
Yeah, staying up all night.
Yeah,
on social media.
Why do they do that? Like, there's a lot of reasons they do it. Because A, it's there, and nobody's telling them not to do it. Secondly, there's a lot of peer pressure. There are other kids up at night doing it, and they want to connect with the other kids, so they do it. And third, it's designed to be addictive. They can't stop, even when they should be sleeping. It's crazy. And I don't have no idea what I'm supposed to say next.
Nothing, because it's supposed to.
So that's the reason.
That's where
I got started with my kids. I wanted, if I was going to do one thing, see if it worked. I started with my son. He was 16 at the time, and he and I sat down. We talked about why he had his phone in the room. We had a great conversation. We talked about facts. We talked about how he's an athlete. We talked about the cause and effect of sleep and sports performance. And the only thing he had to say was, "But Mom, it's my alarm clock." And I said, "Aha, I have the answer to that problem." And I brought out my 1990s Sony alarm clock, and it was in the 80s or 90s. It was old, but it still worked. So I gifted that to him. He agreed that it was important to get the devices out of his room, and it worked.
Yep.
It worked, and he bought into it. That was the key thing. So the result is he gets more good quality sleep. He's modeling a positive behavior for his brother. There's Sam and his brother Ryan. And it opened the door to future conversations about his tech life choices. We even listened to a podcast about sleep together. And this guy talks about the melatonin cortisol levels and how that's really important, how devices have a problem with that. Anyway, and after all of this time and energy spent with our own families, Marisa and I's, there's certain truths there's 3 truths that we discovered. Truths that we discovered.
Yep. One, screen age parenting is different. We're the first generation of parents who were raised with models of a low-tech childhood, and we're raising digital natives. So I thought I could raise my kids at, 90% of the way I was raised, but no, it's completely different. It's completely different. And, that it used to be that the kids played outside. It used to be that And now, of course, even when they play, there are devices with them. It used to be you took pictures with the camera, and now we're doing it with the iPhone. That's the smartphone, does everything else. They used to do their homework on a piece of paper, and now they do it online. Families are fighting over it. It's a totally new ballgame, so don't feel badly about it. We need to let that go, really. We should acknowledge the incredible challenges we face.
So truth number 2, parents still have the power. We get it. It can feel like you don't when you're dealing with kids and they'd rather listen to anyone else but you. And as our kids grow up, many parents feel like that power may be eroding, but you can take action to influence how tech shows up in your house. The tech giants aren't going to do it for us, so we have to do it. You can have discussions with your kids about it. And those discussions, they can be positive and they can enhance that relationship. So just because tech overuse is pervasive and kids feel entitled doesn't mean that we can't do something about it.
Yeah. So, and the third counterintuitive truth is that basically the only thing that's really going to solve this problem is a low-tech solution to this high-tech problem. A whole industry is emerged to tackle the problem. You know, gadgets and apps and Wi-Fi controls. But the real solution is really mentoring and modeling, using your family values to shape the way you engage with tech.
So so what's the deal with this tool? There's an entire industry.
No, I just said that.
Oh.
Okay. That's totally. What's the deal with this tool? Question mark. Well, let us tell them more about it. Okay. Remember back in my original story where I didn't mention that we have the knowledge, we didn't have the knowledge. Well, it starts with a family screen contract. Oh my God. To balance tech use. It's a two-way agreement between you and the child, and that's the way we start really making agreements that we can both keep. Okay, so then this is the one that we started when we were there. It's evolved over time or something like that. Okay, so gosh, when I found a way for it to work, after I found a way for it to make it work, which took a couple of years, then a lot of my friends were like, hey, can I get a copy of that? What's your magic, what's the magic wand? So I sent it to all my friends, but they needed more.
And what was missing? The contract is the vessel and the journey is what gets the results, not the piece of paper.
So yeah, that's what we learned over time. So, one thing that illustrates this quite well is a book. There's an author named Anya Kamenetz, who's the lead blogger at National Public Radio, and she wrote a book called The Art of Screen Time. She summed it up by saying the information isn't getting, there's plenty of information out there, but it's not getting to parents in a way they can understand and use. Parenting the digital age is nuanced and personal, not something to be solved with an app or a phone control.
So tech-like mentorship is more than a piece of paper, as we've said. So what's missing or not working? The how, right? Families are different and we need to customize it.
Right. So first it's the who. Is it the whole family? It's got to be the whole family. Parents, and you got to get your co-parent engaged as well, to the best you can. We can address in situations with with collaboration, but it's best to get that buy-in. And it's got to be a two-way agreement. Again, sets the tone for partnership with the kids, especially when the kid hits puberty and they can smell hypocrisy. Also, it depends. Your contract is customized based on your kid's personality. For instance, there was a study done at the University of Amsterdam that talked about kids. Some are dandelions and some are orchids. The dandelions are, tough and can survive anywhere, not so susceptible to digital media. And the orchids can bloom beautifully, but they are highly susceptible to outside influences. Then there's the what. What kinds of screen the agreement applies to. I remember when my son was young, he figured, okay, it's just the phone. But then they got the computers, right? Because Google owns a classroom, and then we got to connect it to TV. So you got to make sure that it's all screens, all digital media, okay? And another important distinction is to the difference between entertainment media, social media, streaming media, and productivity. So anything that takes away from agency, which is your own ability to control your thoughts and behavior. There's a huge difference.
There is. The next is where. Where should your phones be? Where should you have no phone zones? the sacred areas in your home. Those can be, like in my home, none are in the bedrooms at night. We don't have them at the dinner table, and we don't have them, or we shouldn't have them in the bathrooms.
You should just say you don't, because that's a confusing message.
Okay.
Really, you know what I'm saying? Then the hard to enforce part.
That's right. Okay, and then the other part is the why. This is really crucial. You need to explain to your kids why these limits matter, or why you're looking at this and setting rules. You need to focus on the things that the kids care about. And it's also things that are very important to your family as a whole. So you need to reframe the screen talk about it is a privilege, not a right.
That's right. And then there's the when. Setting time limits. For instance, school-age kids shouldn't be up until midnight doing homework. You know, they tab over they have Google Classroom, but they'll tab over when they feel resistance to YouTube or Netflix, and that takes time, and it takes away their agency, right? So you should set time limits for entertainment for sure, and get them to distinguish between them. And if they can't get out the door in the morning, you should there should be no phone until they're dressed and ready to go. And after school, we have this thing where we have a new after school routine where they turn off notifications when they're doing homework, and they turn off all, keep the phone away, and they have blocks where they focus, and then you have to sprinkle in the screen time as well. There's a method here called the Pomodoro method that we use in my house, and we strongly suggest you have a method. So you can download the contract for free, and it can fit your family values. Other variations can be the family structure, child's personality, their age, maturity, gender, parenting style, all kinds of stuff. Oh, okay. So why? Okay. So that doesn't belong there, but Demir, that was like to kind of say why a boot camp for change. Shit, it doesn't belong there. I'm gonna throw up. Okay. Okay. So meet Dan. He is one of the people we took through the program. He's a single dad, 2 girls. He's divorced. They were doing girls were doing what typical teenagers do in a consequence-free environment. He's a super smart guy, so it's not like it has nothing to do with our abilities to show up in a world that we know. It's how do we do it in the new world. Once we presented him with the facts and information and clearly gave him and his ex-wife tools to collaborate, they now have a structure in place that each of them can enforce consistently. But more importantly, both of them are conscious of their own use and modeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's key. So just a review, a check-in from what we've covered so far, we've shared our stories, right? And hopefully that you can benefit from things that we've gone through and made mistakes stop. And then we've revealed 3 counterintuitive truths from what we've gained as we're going through this information. And last, we've shared the most powerful tool in our parenting toolbox. And we have so much more to share.
So if this resonated with you and you tried it on your own already with an app or a book, you need more help, we're confident we can help you. It will work. And so we've got a totally new approach, and hopefully you can hear more about it. We'll tell you more about it. So why an online boot camp? Okay, this is where it belongs, not the other one. Mm-hmm. Because, with all this knowledge and experience, we could have written a book. We thought about it, started a podcast, written an app, done a TED Talk, all the different things. But what we find is there's a deluge of information out there where you can know more. With the information, books, podcasts, and speeches, they're not actionable. You put them away on the shelf and don't act on them. The tools are good aids, but they need to be managed. Somebody has to drive the car. And workshops, like experiential workshops, are great, but then they're over and you have the lack of follow through. The best way to get transformation, again, we call that where sort of traditional techniques are knowing more, but our approach, we help you do more. Okay, the best way to get transformation is we have an integrated system, online course. Okay, we have an integrated system. It's purpose-built, it's accountable, and it turns knowledge into action.
So imagine that you had everything that you needed. You had the latest information and tools. You had courage by being supported. You had coaching somebody that could talk you through what you're experiencing. And you had somebody that followed up with you and made you accountable for what you wanted to by reaching your goals. And you were armed with a solution for your family, not just some generic family, for your family. And you want to be a Tech Life mentor no matter what society says is normal. And we want you to feel prepared to be a Tech Life mentor for your family. Yeah.
So basically, we've done all the hard work for you. We've read all the books. We've read all the books about all the different subjects. And we, okay, this flow is wrong. We had one client, Bridget. She had, meet Bridget. She has a 17-year-old boy who was struggling in high school. He was dyslexic. It's not uncommon. So he quit sports and would come home after school, lay on the floor, scroll, tab, click for hours. He was hard to motivate because school was boring and hard for him. She tried limits and it worked for a while, but she couldn't watch him all the time. Once she learned about the real threats for him, she was able to approach him with an agreement that was in partnership. And he was far more receptive to listening and self-regulating. Now he's making music, I forgot, that doesn't flow, and prepared for life after high school. Now on to the sister.
So we've curated the best tech tools to use only as tools and integrated within our solution. There's Circle by Disney, Unglued, Screen Time, Digital Wellbeing, and et cetera. There's so many out there. Between the two of us, we probably tried all of them, and we can tell you what really works. And once again, the best tools for you will depend on your family, but we know how to navigate the tools and to recommend the right ones.
Definitely. And we've created templates, downloadable templates. We worked with curriculum designers to get this knowledge to you and the action, turn it into action in a way you can understand and use.
And you'll get access to us. We'll be able to answer your specific challenges, review the new tools for you, and help you negotiate with your spouse or your parenting partner, and to wrangle those kids through puberty. We're always here to help you.
Yep. So what's your legacy worth? I mean, I want to leave a legacy. Do you? I'd love to tell you this process was easy, but it hasn't been. We're still working on it as we meet new daily challenges. Instead of thinking, and I love this quote from a guy named Greg McGowan, who's the author of a book called Essentialism. With the unholy alliance between smartphones, social media, and extreme consumerism, we've lost the narrative of now. We should think about, as parents, what will matter in 100, 200, 300 years? We must restore the narrative of our lives. So I think about it like this. What will matter that I'm doing today in 100 years? Well, we know many of you are feeling overwhelmed with work and lives yourself, and you've tried a bunch of stuff and it hasn't worked. Well, it's hard to believe all the time and energy we invest in our kids' parenting will pay off, but we can give you the confidence you're doing the right work and that you need to raise confidence, raise focused, confident kids, no matter how many distractions are thrown at them. That is your important legacy. How many people here want to leave a legacy? If you'd like to be one of the small fraction of parents who's actually taking action, write legacy below.
Yeah, legacy.
Yeah. Oh, look at all you people. Yes. Yay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Like it.
So my family 5 years later, well, I feel like they have a deep-seated ethos of connection versus isolation. I hope they've internalized our family values as they relate to tech use. Often, they've done a great job self-regulating the distractions from tech. Not always perfectly, but really, really well compared to the society. They understand the relationship between time, goals, and short-term actions. We have a language to resolve differences. That's probably the most powerful thing. And we really don't fight about baseline rules for tech. Things like, no phone in the room and no texting while I'm talking to you, basic things like that. And that's really the rest of it. And then we'd show this clip from Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And okay, so what's it worth? I don't know. I can tell you what it cost me. Well, the wilderness program was like $20,000, and that's not even including all the flight changes we had to do because we had a vacation plan. The online course, you know, there's one nonprofit who works in this area that's trying to raise $50,000 to do the exact course. It's basically putting a screening contract to work. And then there's all the intangibles. Like I took a productivity boot camp, and we've woven those things into the program to help your kids master their time. We've conducted interviews with dozens and dozens of teachers, administrators, parents, kids, therapists, doctors, and the kids is in there twice, and dozens of books. I mean, just so much webinars. We've met the experts ourselves. So I don't know what it's worth for you. I know what it cost me.
But remember the legacy. We wanted to make it affordable for as many people as we can, for all families. So remember the fear, anxiety, anger you feel when you see your kids scrolling for hours, or ignoring homework, or ignoring the family, or even the family pet.
This slide doesn't go with this because these are good points. So go ahead.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well,
Well,
yeah, it's
note yourself.
We parents need to solve this problem starting today.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Because they're just looking at this, and your points are not those.
I see that.
Woo!
I can see that.
So we have a
bonus.
special offer for you today. The regular price is $497, but like I said, we're in this to make a difference and to leave a legacy, and we want you to too. So now for the people on this webinar, we're going to do it for the next 24 hours at $100 off. Plus, as a bonus, you get 2 30-minute coaching sessions with Sherry and I. First of all, a diagnostic call to talk about your specific challenges, and then an implementation checkup and a fine-tuning. And then
First 10. But you might be thinking you can't get started with this because no time, energy, willpower, don't want to fight with kids, already hard to deal with, you need to get other things done, my kids are different, and it's overwhelming. We understand that it just might feel like it's too hard, but it's not that hard, especially when you get support.
Maybe you should say, I did it, and you can too.
I did it, and you can too. Don't know why all those other scripts.
Well, it worked for me. The answer is yes. Every single person who's done it, where they got the information, used the tools, did the homework, they showed up in a very real, honest way and engaged with the community. It works. We can tell you that. So if you are someone who can commit to those things, yes. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where that goes. Yeah, bye now.
Oh, here's Shelly. I've known Shelly for a really long time professionally, and it thrills me. She's gone through our course. It thrills me to no end that she has gained revelations of how technology affects all of us in society, her as a parent, her as an adult, and then how it helps her raise her 2 boys. It's a great feeling to be able to touch other families in this way.
I think you should read it, though. It's a pretty good quote, no?
They can read it.
Well, we actually don't want them reading the slides. We don't want to encourage them to, and I think that the reason I didn't put a voiceover, I think that it's good, affects everything, but it's just, this is really a good quote. It's the one I left like that, because she had the best quote.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
that's her
read.
quote.
That's her quote. And the other thing is you're going to save time, money, and your relationship. Mm-hmm. That means the time that you save, well, rather than yelling at your kids all the time again and again and again, making the same mistakes over and over, our stuff is designed in a way where it's all in one place. You don't have to go searching for it. And you save money because we help you understand the right tools and technology to use. We bought them all, wasted so much money. And I told you how much I spent on the thinking and logic behind the answer. And wear and tear in your relationships. We help you avoid mistakes and recover from the ones you make, and learn how to have the right conversations at the right time. So let me just check in. Are any of you looking for sanity and control right away? Give me sanity in the chat box. Yeah. Oh, look, some people want to be saved.
Yeah, a lot of people need sanity.
Woo-woo.
Right on. So you have choices at this point. They are, you can create a plan for tech life balance in less than 4 weeks. You could too pretend the problem will work itself
So
out.
the rest of them are like the other. So that's one, and the
So
rest are all the other, right?
So all the other choices are, you could pretend the problem will work itself out. Yeah. Okay.
It won't.
You could wait for society to find a solution that works for your family. Would you want that anyway? But yeah, you could wait for that. Or you could wait for your children to manifest a serious problem like Marisa had with her family.
That makes so basically, so you a serious problem where you then feel like it's a priority, then you'll deal with it.
And then you deal with it.
So I guess I would say under here, create the lesson 4 weeks. We can help you create boundaries around tech use, about new healthy habits. I'm not sure how to navigate and do this one, Demir and Carrie, because everything. That's why.
I think that's this part.
Yeah, maybe there's our one slide. You mean? Okay.
I think.
Okay. So join us, be a Tech Life mentor. And why? What will that do? Well, because you'll learn how to use tech to enhance your real life and show your kids to do the same. That means aligning tech use with family values, creating boundaries around its use, adopting new healthy habits, you're right, and manage how it influences their life and their ability to think and act. What does all that do? It means you get to help your kids reach their potential and reach their potential. So if you want to learn to be a Tech Life mentor, can you say mentor in the chat box?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Lots of people. Yay. Oh, live your life. Okay.
So here are our final thoughts. Tech is engineered for addiction. That's just the plain truth, right? Our kids are not prepared for that. They're not prepared to resist the lure of any of the screens. And last, it's worth your effort. You as the parent, you have the power, and you have the power to leave a legacy.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. So, you've got this. We've taken parents have so much stuff with their children, but they feel stuck, and we're drowning in the barrage of devices, and the distraction feels normal. But many of them are, if you're a parent and you're doing nothing, you're your own worst enemy. Think about it. People want to do something well, need support. They just do. And they get coaches. They can't do it alone. So they join a team and get a coach. For us, parenting is our legacy. So why shouldn't you invest to improve yourself in your most important job?
Yep. There's no magic wand solutions in this life. There are no 3 easy steps to being the perfect parent in less than 30 days. I wish there were, but they're not. Each day we go out and we just do our best.
This slide is all wrong, by the way. My argument for parenting the screen age is most of what you need to parent is integrity, lies within your family values. You just need to learn how to turn those values into knowledge, system, and habits. So what are you waiting for?
Yeah. Sign up.
Sign up now.
Sign up now. Let's hear from people.
Okay.
Who's going to sign up?
Who's going to sign up? Sign up now. Yeah, sign up now.
Yeah, put in chat now.
Put in chat now. Now.
And here's how you're going to do it.
Oh, you're going to do it like this. ABC 1, 2, 3. Boom. Are we done?
Yeah, this is the graveyard now.
That was so good. I think, oh, look, I was in the half. Or I don't know, maybe I'm not. There. Okay. So that was really good. We're super happy with that. So stop recording. Do you want to stop?